Buddy, welcome to the House of Haziah. Once subliminal sanity is now the House of Haziah as we move forward, and basically keeping a constitution of the self as we move forward. Judas is here. He's back, as always, has never left. We've been here the whole time. Yeah, we've been here the whole time. But moving forward, we were talking about how, since the radio show, one of the things that we had researched and was going to potentially do a coverage on was not necessarily the Mandela effect, but we were researching JFK. And the timeline that we are from in the Mandela is that we remember there being 2 seats, a driver, no one else in the vehicle. Am I wrong? Is this the timeline you remember?
This is what you're talking about. You remember that too?
I remember that too. You remember that, right? When
Yeah.
there was only...
They didn't have the whole road, man. They really didn't. I watched a video, I don't know how many times.
So in Project Looking Glass, if you start looking, they were talking about how there was going to be a future of where, since 9/11, where there was an individual that worked for the military and was talking about how these timelines were going to all come together into one, and that it was from Project Looking Glass, looking into the future of where they saw these timelines were going to come together, is that proof that the Mandela effect was real, and that CERN was actually tapping into these other different universes, if you will, or timelines, parallel existences.
You're splintering the universes, and it's creating 2 separate universes, and they're trying to cross over between the 2.
I think there's more timelines that we're not necessarily aware of, because
like a huge splintering, and then it's supposed to start merging back together
into one, which is a part of the Great Awakening, which is...
This must be it, because then you have certain people who remember one thing and certain people who don't. So
Exactly.
There you go. There's a merging of the timelines.
A merging of timelines. And so if you have a level of where we remember in our life where there was JFK's car and him rolling down the road, and it looked like either his wife had finished him off, because it looked like the driver reached under him and shot him in the head, and then missed and didn't really finish the job, and then she kind of leaned in a little closer, and then it looked like she kind of drilled the fucker right under his head almost.
Yeah, it looks like if he picked up a gun and blasted him, basically.
Yeah, blasted him right in
really
national television.
There was definitely no other vehicle in the car, though.
But there was nobody else in the vehicle whatsoever. Oop. I got somebody trying to tune in. I cut him out. You still there? Hold on. Yeah. You know, that's the thing, is a lot of people hit me up. I might need to have to call you right back. Okay? Yeah, we're going to get back on here.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
said that they killed Kennedy and shit. This,
Oh, did they actually admit that they killed him?
yeah.
When did they admit it?
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Are you sure that wasn't Martin Luther King?
Yeah, they admit to killing Martin Luther King. They admitted to killing Kennedy. A bunch of shit. The chemtrails are real. Fucking.
So you think they're just trying to tell us?
Conspiracy. They came out and admitted to it.
So they're just admitting it so we can. What we don't. We look crazy, but it doesn't. Then that means that we're held accountable. And if they're going to admit it, they're basically saying that nothing's going to be done about it.
Hey, you. Hello. Oh, the baby just woke up. Hey.
Well, I think it's interesting when you look at these, when you look at these situations and you think about.
Oh, yeah. This is what I think. It's like the Mandela effect. They said there was going to be a big splintering of realities and that they were going to merge back together again.
Yes.
And I mean, there's whole TV shows on this. It's not like just alone and saying it. They had that TV show. It was like on HBO or something, where that guy's like some kind of official or something on the other side, and they got to grab his double from this side and bring him over and pretend like he either didn't get assassinated or something like that. I don't know. I never watched the show, but there's definitely like two worlds. And it's funny because the other world had Zeppelins and blimps going up against the Empire State Building, which, according to certain people, that's supposed to be exactly what they're used for. That whole like tower thing up there. It's supposed to like strain off these Zeppelins, and that's how people used to travel around. And that's like old world technology stuff that they talk about, the Tatari thing.
Well, it's
Which
interesting
is
that.
thing. I mean, I never even heard of Tatari or anything like that up until.
That's another thing. How do we know these timelines?
Is supposed to have this technology where they're supposed to be able to travel in between times and places and things.
Oh, hold on now. That's an interesting statement that you just said. I mean, if we're talking about a Mandela, and now we're just hearing about this, because one person said, well, Tatari is more of a distraction, and it's a made-up thing to make you even more, crazy, because there's really no proof of these situations, and it's like an invented conspiracy.
Well,
that
it was always Atlantis, right? Now it's like this Tatarian thing. What's to say that from our time period, Atlantis was the old technology,
hold on now.
The old world.
Let's remember, in the Bible, you have Tartarus.
It's like a whole other portal to a different place.
Now, that's an interesting philosophy. But what about Tartarus being like hell in the Bible, but now we have Tataria? And
I'm sure the Bible and other things might be a blend of these ideas where people wrote about these Tatarians and they have a portal to hell or to Tartarus, to Tataria.
Now again,
these portal machines.
Shout out to everyone before us. Everything here is basically just educational purposes. Full disclaimer. Reserve all rights delegated by God, protected by the Constitution, and recognized under the UCC 1-308 without prejudice. And this basically reserves all rights back to the common law, recognized as the UCC is to be in harmony and, not to be construed against, but in harmony and coherency basically with the common law. And so that's what UCC 1-308 recognizes without prejudice, and places man above corporate, back in the common law. So we're operating under the jurisdiction of the common law, and everything said here is just educational. So
baby, get back. Yep. Get back to where you once belonged.
Get back. get back to where he was alone.
Get back.
Get back. Get back.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now, man. Because you hear of Atlantis as being this technology and all this other shit, and now all of a sudden it's this Tatarian thing. What's to say that Tataria is not this world's Atlantis?
I was just thinking that as soon as you said that, I started thinking, you know, this is a new idea, but with the timelines converging within what you start to look in within Project Looking Glass, and I found more in-depth thesis on it from a channel called The Inspired or Inspired, and it's an individual on there, amazing guy. It just, you know, was a part of my algorithms, and I happened to click on it, and he calls himself the Inspired Tribe, Freedom Lovers. He's doing really well, amazing guy. John, I believe, is the name of the content creator, and he had an individual come on who's an author who touched base on Project Looking Glass. He had 2 parts, and in fact the guy's been on there because as soon as he talked about it, they just blew up. It went viral. I mean, this guy's now like what he was once, just, you know, an average guy. He's an author. He's a very unique, eccentric individual, kind of like us, but he presented himself, you know, almost like just an average guy, like he wrote this book and nobody cared. You know, the stuff we talk about all the time and nobody cares? Everybody in our circle calls us crazy. Well, ever since that interview, he got blown up, went viral, has billions of listeners now, people buying his book, and I highly recommend anybody, if you watch this video, definitely, you know, I mean, I just saw a viewer come across here, so give us a thumbs up, help with the algorithms. It's absolutely free. But, yeah, Project Looking Glass talks about all these timelines converging, that the elitists knew that the people were going to hit this rapid rate of where, you know, what I call the Christ consciousness, the Holy Spirit pouring out on the whole entire world. There was going to be this grandiose mass awakening, which, if you look, everybody's kind of facing what? Their judgment day? I call it a judgment day. So, with that being said, there's more prophecy unfolding. In fact, maybe that's what we should really focus on this channel of, would be the orders of Melchizedek, all my Bible study, and all that stuff, and the electric shaman will be the law. But they really go hand in hand. You know, the more you burrow down on the real true essence of what this place is for me, in a less pious aspect, you got the law, you got Christ, you got God, and you walk, what, one with the elect, you know? So, the electric shamans, the House of Haziah.
Yeah.
House of Haziah. Well, alleviating, yeah, moving forward, new stuff, current times, staying in with the development of consciousness, documenting everything, you know, staying within all these realms of documentation, basically to the current moment of now. I mean, yeah. Intention. Setting intention.
How's it going? Yeah, I thought I heard her calling. Okay. Hey.
Project Looking Glass is a military experiment of the government to look into the future, to be able to predict of these events happening so they can get ahead of it to control the population of man, to be able to narrate society into a transhumanist agenda of where we're either going to be integrated with technology or utilize technology to integrate man back with nature again. To realize that we're dumbed down. We spend more money on chemicals to create a better lawn that looks like something out of a magazine than we do to nurture reality and the natural herbs that we call weeds every day. The dandelions actually have holistic properties in them. But that's exactly what you see on any kind of, what's that? Roundout? Round? What is it called? Roundup?
Roundup.
Yep, Roundup. Killing dandelions and these things called weeds that are actually Native American.
And yeah, dandelions are very important to bumblebees and stuff too.
Yep. Bumblebees, and here we are, naturally swatting and killing them out with chemicals made by companies that are obviously against nature and God and all that's natural in the world, and against humanity in every way.
Well, that's an agenda.
Well, it seems to be where one wants to dictate nations and generations from consciously evolving and taking accountability of themselves to be free thinkers, to see themselves equal.
Again, I mean, if you buy chemicals that are meant to kill things, so don't be surprised if it kills you too.
There you go. Well, you know these what they're doing, Ken. You know what they're doing.
It's killing shit.
Are we not nature with a voice?
We are.
Yeah, I'm getting.
Does she need juice?
You know what? This is it. This is what we got right now. We got this.
We got the now. We got the right now.
Yeah, maybe we'll call it Judas Crowley and just keep having us come on these things. But I need to be able to have it more documented within the spiritual realm. In fact, is there a channel already called basically, because I just want to document conversations with people. And, with House of Isaiah or Subliminal Sanity, which I like Subliminal Sanity, but Subliminal Sanity is like a chapter, exactly. I would like to document the ascension process, alchemy, the mind, the evolution of consciousness, and how this pertains to the moment of now. Well, what are they doing right now? What do you see them doing right now?
Oh.
I guess the Cabal. The Bilderberg,
the
Jesuits, the
Bilderberg.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The
I'd
Satanists.
say probably the one world money stuff. It seems like, the biblical thing. One world government, one world money. world order. Yeah, same stuff.
The biblical thing.
Yeah, same stuff as last year.
Pretty much everything we put on our show.
Yeah.
Well, the people are waking up. We're like consciously, rapidly awakening faster than they could ever dream of right now. The elitists right now don't realize that they're pretty much, in all pretenses and purposes, literally an actor's lodge of a bunch of Geritol, pill taking. It's like an elderly home or a retirement home escaped. Okay? And they all snuck into the White House or the Capitol and all these places and pretended to be a government. And they're so out of touch with the youth and the actual conscious awareness of the world that they don't realize that we are so aware that they're projecting onto us who they are. They're making confessions by every time they do an accusation. They're like children, thinking that we're children. Isn't that what it seems like?
Trying. Trying to be a little kid again, I guess.
No, I'm talking about the old the Church of Washington D.C. And its council of clergymen, Pharisees, and Chaldeans.
Chaldeans.
Yeah, the Sadducees, because they're seducing you. The Chaldeans, the Herodians. Hosea Amadeus, the house of Hosea, a Hosean of Amadeus Christo,
A Zionist.
a Hoseanist. Nice. A Hoseanist. Hosea. So, yep, been studying a lot of law lately. Lots and lots of law. Well, do you notice a lot of differences with the Mandela effect? And any new things coming on that you've noticed within the Mandela? And as well, that has tapped into Project Looking Glass.
I don't know. Can you tell if new shit happens?
Well, right now, what I see is this. YouTube is becoming a platform where you're not allowed to say certain things. All right? I guess, from what I see, everyone's going private now into their own website that you pay a membership, and then you're now able to hear somewhat of the truth. Then if you go to other platforms, I'll choose not to say, because therefore that way they're not in jeopardy of, you know, being completely censored. But there's other platforms where you can go on other than YouTube, and you can get channels and videos and see shit that you ain't seeing on YouTube. Like people just dropping fucking dead like flies out of nowhere. You know, you can get questions as if you have a so-called, we'll think of a new name of it, inoculation. What is another word for it? Your rabies shot. Okay, your, you know, your shots. You know, your up-to-date keep for your dog. Your dog's rabies shot. You know, and making sure now it's up to date on all its vaccinations and.
Didn't they say you can't give blood if you've gotten the jab?
Oh, if your dog got the rabies shot, you can't donate blood anymore? No way.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I heard, can't donate blood, can't donate sperm. You can't, a lot of dudes are divorcing their wife and women divorcing their husbands because, well, they got the rabies vaccination. And like I said, I mean, they'll ask you if you got your, you know, when you're traveling, you know, in your canine outfit, they'll ask you if you got your rabies, you know, your tests and stuff, your dog's, you know, they'll check your dog tags. See if you got your rabies tag or not. And, yeah, I guess that's another thing, like, I mean, I really don't give a shit. I wonder what the real consequences are by us talking about the real deal, truth. You think we're going to get in trouble? Should we really censor ourselves?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't pay attention to it and see what happens.
No, I'll tell you something. The spirit of Elijah was one who took no fear and was a protester, and he said the truth. He was the fire raining down upon the heaven. You know, from the heaven.
I mean, the truth was said already. Not many people did much about it. And then they started doing shit about it, and then you saw the government just going haywire. Oh no!
Right, but
Danger, Will Robinson.
even in the book of Remembrance, the prophet's trumpet, the trumpet's prophet, you know, the prophet of the trumpet, you know, the trumpet of the prophet. It talks in there that a lot of people will take in the word and then eventually, if not careful, will become bitter in their own way and then discard the word. And they'll become just like everyone else.
Yeah.
So, you gotta live in the word and pay attention to the signs. Not so you can just be like, well, yeah, and then let away. No, it's like to wake up like, oh, these are those warnings. These are those trumpets. Oh. So, when I look at the world, I'm always thinking to myself, you know, a part of me wants to just let loose, have a good time, and put on my rosy bubble glasses, but goes back to what we were talking about. Is there truth in pain?
Yes.
Then why would I ignore what I learned? That's making me live in ignorance. Now I'm stupid. I know better, but I don't care. Oh, man. Yeah.
Good.
You know, when you're a kid, you just naturally do it. When you're an older person, it gets harder.
Natural consequences.
Well, you filled your mind up with things and you have more temptations other than when you were a kid. You didn't really know things. You were more protected, aloof, unaware, little kid chasing butterflies.
Innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get older, you're not chasing butterflies anymore. So, you got to restore the innocence through Christ. That's what I think is the hardest thing, is to detox from the world and the things you once thought were valuable. They're not. You know? And I'm learning more, as I go. It's a lonely road if you want to do it right. But
Well, it's only something you can do yourself. But it is nice to have help.
I'd like to let go of a lot of stuff, but then I feel the weight of it still like cling to me. So what is that force field? That force, why ignore that? That has to be passion. That's got to be the Christ, bro. It's the shin. It's got to be the fire within. Because when we did the show, did you not feel alive?
Yeah, that was a good time.
Was it not like fire?
Mm-hmm.
So, shake off your boots, man. Dust off your shoulders. Put back on the armor of God. Let's get back out there in the trenches, my friend. This is a war zone. It's a fucking battle out there. Shalom. God bless you all. Welcome. The law be with us in spirit. The spirit and law, the heart. Calling upon the angels to protect us, guide us, and our ancestors before us. The ones who paved the way. The ones before us that are creating the way. The spirits of all things around us in true form. Animism.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Well, I've learned some interesting things.
Yeah, with the peanut butter.
I learned today.
Would you like it with peanut butter?
Life is property
And milk?
in contract. Proverbs 6:20. Also surety. It's interest on the estates. Tax isn't a charge, as an interest equals renting. 1 Kings chapter 1 verse 5. Exalted himself to be king. 1 Kings chapter 1 verse 12. Save your own life. Thursday, June 16th, 2022, 7:23 a.m. Genesis chapter 15 verse 18. El Elyon. Let's see if this is accurate, shall we? What did it say it was? 15:18. Chapter 15:18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the... So this is talking about the inheritance. He's saying he's given him an inheritance. So before it was we wanted, or it was I will, and then it's I have. I did. So 18, in the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Kenites, Kizitites, the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, which we've heard of the Hittites before, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. These are all people that were considered nations. And he got all these people with the lands. That's what basically God said to him. So, this is the promise to us, the same with Jesus, in our purification process, ascension process, that goes into like these crossroads. What do you want in life? Do you want to trade your life in for the 30 pieces of silver? You want to ascend into the order of Melchizedek and in the cloth? And the more wisdom that we get, are you not a library? You're still alive, Ken. You're still alive. You made it. Yeah. Right? So they say Yahweh, or Elohim, is God the Son, the living Rema, equals the word with the power to create, the Rahima. Elohim is not Jehovah, and the other name is El Elyon, equals the God of his inheritance, found in Genesis 14:18. So let's see, 14:18. The Melchizedek, king of Salem, which is Shalom, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Look at this. No?
Yeah.
Interesting?
Yeah.
The Most High God equals the possessor of heaven and earth. Possess equals to be potent, in power, to be owner of or holder of property, to enter into and take control, to dominate. Leviticus chapter 57, verse 13 equals the holy mountain. Now, the holy mountain's pinnacle. It's pinnacle to the journey of the alchemist. Because in life we're tempted with many things, many desires, many things that, look good and sound good, even on paper and in the mind's eye. But is it purpose, of God's purpose? And I think sacrifice, which it even says in law, equals credibility. Remember this, sacrifice equals credibility. So, I notice that when I give up certain things, it's brought to me, and almost in abundance. So that's like a sign to me. It's like it's an anointing, if you will. How many times do you see me push away cannabis, and yet you're like, you love to give me cannabis? Like, don't worry about it. It's okay. There's worse things out there. It's plenty. And you teach me to not worry in such a strain of it. It really could be. You know how many times I worry about food and then I open up the fridge and then I thank myself and I thank God, I thank everything just for it being there and always being there. I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. And I'm like, wow, thank you. I'm not starving. I'm like concerned I got a little bit of weight on. Oh, God bless. Hallelujah. Oh, yes. To dominate, though, to means to dominate your own emotions. To dominate your own dominion. This is what we work on. So sacrifice is credibility. Does that make sense? So the Holy Mountain, if you ever see the Holy Mountain, which I uploaded on my old fascist book account, Seneca Seabird, you'll see it up there. That avatar, that property name, whatever you want to call. But it's an individual, and dude, the Holy Mountain talks about being on the bottom of the city and confronting the 7 vices and the 7 virtues, and sacrificing those virtues is what ascended the 9 people up to the Holy Mountain to then sit at the table, all of them together, basically as one. Elohim, the God that created something out of nothing. Is that not what you're doing? Praise Elohim. Yep. The resurrection power of God. Look at that, dude.
The God with it.
Elyon is the God of inheritance. Yep. Fuck. Prices you pay. And then I found this word called an alabaster box. You ever heard of an alabaster box? Why don't you Google that for me for a second?
I'm on the phone with you.
You don't have a computer? I think you can still use your internet while you're on the internet.
What is it?
The alabaster box. ALABASTER box.
Alabaster box.
You ever heard of it?
No. Somehow I think I might have, but I'm gonna say no.
As soon as I saw the word, it stuck right out to me. I'm like, like, have I seen this before? I think I've written this down somewhere. Alabaster. But it went over my head.
Studio A, Blaster, Enemies Box, Wildwood.
What's an esoteric meaning of the alabaster box? It's a box.
Yeah, it's also a song, I think.
I think there's a secret code in that word. Because I found it in one of these esoteric books. So, when you look at Google, you're reading something of the modern age of 2005. when you're reading these books, they're from the ages of Dead Sea Scrolls and Gnostic Essene texts and
Because they had all kinds of different meanings, all kinds of different things you can how directly interact.
That's interesting.
Because it's a song, it's a plays, it's all kinds of shit. That is interesting.
Okay, so this goes back to the same thing that I wanted to create and do within the level of an apothecary. And that an alabaster box and or jar, to me, looks as if it would be something equivalent to even having a ritualistic sit down of where we pull out a weed box and sit down and bust it open and smoke weed. And because
I
it says,
have the same problem with the gauntlet. Now, to me, the gauntlet was always used as like some kind of like endurance test kind of thing or something. Like monstrous, the gauntlet. I guess it means glove. Or some kind of like royal armor glove or something. It's interesting, but it's still used in sports.
so this is what I'm going to do, if you're willing. I would like to set up a situation where I will sell your hats for you, and I just want a small commission out of the hats that I sell. I'll even have a link that links to you, but yeah, whatever is linked to my page, and I'm running through the interstate of, you know, the world of the web and all the streets and avenues and interdimensional galaxies thereof, of all the estates we call the Great Wide Web, because it's really what it is. Um, it's like metaphysical, neuronical, fucking intangible yet tangible realities just made out of nothing. It's phenomenal if you think about the internet. You know what?
Wild west of the web.
I need to get a computer because I'm gonna start making fucking websites, dude. I think that I could like be pumping them out like fucking people take shits every morning. Like, oh yeah, coming, blah, 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 there it is. And you're like looking at your shit. You got these little fucking amazing pictures going by of your hat on the front page, and you're like, whoa. And it's like the showcase. It's like, welcome to the showcase of, you know, what is hemlock? Hemlock's a really good one. Okay, hemlock's a plant. You know, it's poisonous.
Yeah, hemlock.
Maybe we should call them hemlock hats. Backlot brims. I do like backlot brims, dude. It's sick. But do you think people identify with being toxic in a way?
Why?
I don't know. They'll identify with a lot of bad stuff and then turn it into something good.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there.
You know what I mean?
No different than calling yourself badass friends.
I mean, backlot. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. It's fun. It's funny. It's character.
Well, you know we're fucking pretty intense people.
Okay.
Yep. Well, that concludes everything with the Mandela and the Looking Glass. Anybody watching, you got 50 minutes of pure entertainment, raw, live, gold nuggets and schnuggets into the tablet and lens of our life. And yeah, tune in next time. We will have plenty to say in the moving, ever-evolving moment of now we call reality or realty, and consciousness constantly creating itself. Somehow, some way, yet it's happening all the time. A moment that did not exist now exists. Unfucking believable. But yet, one has to believe. Till next time.